What's at the stake for India in a trade deal with US? India and the United States are engaged in a high-stake, last-minute scramble to finalize a bilateral trade agreement before the critical date of 9th July, which marks the end of 90-day pause on the tariff escalation. If no agreement is reached, both nations risk steep tariff hikes could impact a wide range of exports and imports. The talks, while showing the signs of progress, remain stuck on the key issue, particularly agriculture. The US President Donald Trump remains optimistic, saying a deal with much less tariffs is likely, stressing that both sides should be able to go in and compete. However, the comments, especially if they do that, part suggest that the burden is on India to open up its markets, more particularly for American agricultural goods. Well, India is standing firm on the agricultural issue, refusing to make concessions that could threaten its rural economy. Agriculture supports over 50% of India's rural population, and more than 80 million people rely directly on the dairy sector. For New Delhi, compromising on these sectors is politically risky and economically unfeasible. A senior government official bluntly said there is no question for conceding on the dairy. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar emphasized on complexity of ongoing negotiation starting at both countries and are hopefully more halfway towards the deal. However, he also acknowledged that compromises will be needed, saying that there will have to give and take. Now, US demands more market access from the American side. There are strong pressure to reduce Indian tariffs on apples, almonds, wheat, corn and dairy products, as well as generic modified crops. The US sees India's massive farm market as the key to shrink its $45 billion trade deficit with India. In addition to the tariffs, US is also targeting a non-tariff barrier, particularly India's quantity control orders. Over 700 regulations that criticizes the restrictions foreign imports under the guises of the customer safety. While these rules aim to support local manufacturing, US analysts argue that they are disproportionately hurting the small American exporters. But what if the talks fail? If the 9 July deadline passes without a deal, the suspended 26% tariff could snap back, worsening the trade tensions. Currently, India is maintaining a baseline 10% tariff on both of the countries, Indian exporters and American exporters. Trump's administration has warned if India refuses to ease the farm import barriers, the US may consider shifting the trade focus elsewhere to some other country. Hope of a mini deal. Despite the hurdles, there is a cautious optimism that is needed in the mini deal could be reached. This deal would be a stepping stone towards comprehensive free trade agreement, which is FTA, in the future. Ajay Srivastava of the Global Trade Research Initiative said the next 7 days could determine whether India and US settle for a limited deal or walk away from each other. Key issues on the table. Well, the mini deal under negotiation includes tariff reduction, market access to IT service, digital trade, data regulation, price caps and medical devices, intellectual property protection, agricultural access. But India's stance is rooted in its Atmanirbhar Bharat, which is self-reliant India vision, where food independence and farmer protection are seen as non-negotiable. The outcome of these talks will significantly shape India's US ties. With just a few days left, both countries are racing against time to avoid a tariff war and prove that despite the differences, economic cooperation is still possible. So, what do you think about this possible trade tariff war? Leave your comments down and make sure to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.